Hi again, nice to be with you. So in continuance of just adding a little humour to the real estate day, and over the coming weeks I hope to also film some of the more stressful situations that realtors find themselves in. But in the spirit of laughter, and not to mock but just to have some fun, it's good just to share some of the funnies that we as realtors do experience in real estate. And you think your job is crazy, but real estate is way wilder and more weird than you could ever imagine. From out of control pets to naked sellers, I think we've seen it all. And I know you'd think it's just a very routine, mundane kind of a job, and you just get up and schlep people around from properties to properties, but it does get very interesting. And so on that note, some of the funnies. Well, I remember in the Lowveld taking some Americans out to a property, and they seemed to be pretty preoccupied with the exterior, the garden. An American gentleman said to me, "Anything buried out back?" And I'm like, "Anything buried out back?" So I went to go and look in the garden, and I was thinking, well, are there any sort of humps in the ground that might indicate that we have a graveyard, And then I thought, no, I'm sure he's probably concerned about any pets that have been buried, and if they're going to rebuild the garden, they've got sacred ground. Human skeleton that might be planted somewhere in the back. I don't know what gave him that idea, but that was the strangest encounter that I've ever come across. And then what about this? I bet you didn't know that estate agents spend a lot of their time doing housework. You arrive, and it's always good to arrive early at a show day, because the seller's gone off, beds are unmade, dishes in the sink, and a whole lot more like doggy do to pick up in the garden. And so we've become quite accustomed to doing housework and moving and shifting things around as we film. But one funny episode that I read up on recently was, apparently this couple handed the keys to the agent. They had just got married, and they said, "Go and do a show day, please." So the agent very wisely pitched up early. And when he got in there were all these half-smoked joints in the ashtrays. There were beer bottles everywhere. The bride had just stepped out of her bridal gown. It was lying on the floor, and they just went off on honeymoon to have the nicest time. And the agent had to clean up all the mess and all the clutter. So buyers, sometimes when you arrive at a show day, just try and remember that sometimes it's the agent that has cleaned up the property. And you know what, sellers, why not? We're here to help you. You do pay us our commission, and we're always very willing to help you any way we can. But sometimes it does get quite amusing and a little unexpected. And then what about this one, where a buyer says to you, "Please put the hose pipe on all the windows," and you're like, "Okay, that's fine. Any reason?" "Oh, we want to hear what this house sounds like when it's raining." How about this one? So in closing, I had a client who agreed on a commission, and he said to me, there's one thing though, he would like to put a clause in the contract that at the end of the 3 months, which is the usual transfer period from time of sale to time of registration, he said, "I would like to know that I'm going to get X amount of US dollars. And he was basing that figure on the current rate. So he said, "And if I don't get X amount of US dollars at the end of 3 months, I want the difference, if there's any deficit, to be made up out of your commission." I looked at him like, "Are you for real?" Anyway, what I said to him was, "Okay, I'm not in agreement to that, but if I was, and you made a profit, would you add that onto my commission?" Well, he definitely wasn't up for that one. So on that note, remember, I'm not a salesperson, I'm a matchmaker. Until I see you again, have a stunning week. Cheers.